Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Master the NEC, where we talk about the National Electrical Code and all things electrically related. My name's Paul Abernathy, your host as always, and welcome to the podcast. So it's been a little minute since I've done a podcast on anything. Been away. Of course, we had some storms coming into the Gulf, and I was on vacation, which got cut short because we had to evacuate. And, long story short, we're back to the podcasts, and today I want to follow up on a couple emails that I've gotten from students. Now, a lot of people ask me questions about how to study for an exam, and I guess throughout the country, people sell courses and people sell things, but they really don't support them, or they don't give any support when it comes to answering questions about their programs, or maybe they just sell books and whatnot, and then they just say, hey, go study on your own. Good luck with that. But many people know that I can't do that. So I get contacts and calls and emails and texts and posts on our Facebook pages, and obviously on our little app. You should have the app from our website on your phone by now if you want to communicate directly with us. It's a neat thing. It's just go over to masterthenec.com or the Electricians Academy and you can get an app. But any rate, I get an awful lot of questions from people on the proper way to study. Now, of course, I'm going to talk a little bit about our Fast Trax program because, again, I think the students in the program need to know there's a proper way to study. You don't just grab a program and start flipping through it. There is a process. But in general, for anybody that's studying for an exam, you just can't pick a code book up, open it up, and start studying. You don't know what to study. You don't know where to go, what's likely to be on an exam, or what are some of the hot button sections or articles that are likely to appear on an exam. And also, people tend to try to get into this study mode way too late. I mean, they wait until they're about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks from when they're going to take an exam, which is totally not the way to do it. The chances of success are really, really slim when you try to do that. And again, some people say, well, I was thrust into this. Well, you need to step back a little bit, and you need to give yourself some time. If people, like for Texas, people are studying, there's only about a month and a half before we're going to change to the 2020 code, and they're like, I got to get it before the 2020, I got to get it while it's on the 2017, and I'm like, where have you been? Okay, there's been a while now that we've been on the 2017 code in the state of Texas, so I don't know, the urgency all of a sudden really shouldn't be there. You step back and you go, okay, well, I'm going to study the 2020 code so that when you get to November 1st, everything goes to the 2020. I'm going to be prepared. I'm ready to go in there and nail this thing. So I think the first thing that I tell people is that they have to have expectations of studying and understanding that it simply takes time. Now, I get from time to time people that call and say, hey, Paul, I need a course. I need to study. I got to take this test in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And they will hear me try to steer them away from our programs. I've got plenty of free videos on YouTube. I have plenty of podcasts like this one. There's a lot of material that I have out there that can help you prepare for an exam. You don't have to get into a course. And they go, but I want a course. I want to get in your course. And I'm like, okay, the expectation is the course is very structured. There's a lot of reading material. There's a lot of exams. There's a lot of competency tests. There's a lot of section exams. There's practice exams that you should be taking in this program. A lot of people in the program, they don't realize that there's a over 800 question database in this program at the very bottom in their mega folder that they can actually get access, and they should be taking these exams once a week. They should be practicing and honing their skills. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but I'm just talking in general right now for those that are preparing for an exam. Time is one of those things that you're going to have to put the time in. Okay, so people have heard me say that I recommend either a 60 or 90-day course or a 90-day program. And let me explain that a little bit because I think there's a misconception of what they mean. They're like, if I bought a Fast Trax program or I got into one of your exam prep programs, I got to do it for 90 days or 60 days. Look, you have access to our programs for a full year. From the point that the first time that you log into the program, it tracks your activity, and you have access for an entire year. You can go at whatever pace you want. But what we're saying is, if I'm diligent and I want to get into a program, whether it's our program or whatever it is, how long and how much dedication should I put into it in order to have the highest chance of success. And that's where we come up with the 60-day or the 90-day concept. But again, with our programs, you have access for a year. If you're doing it online or you've got some other books, again, you have your own pace. But even in those other programs, my advice is that you really need to give yourself 60 or 90 days. And when I say 60 days, we're literally talking about 3 times a week for 4 hours, you have dedicated study time. That's with no noise in the background, no kids playing, constantly hitting up daddy or mama. You have your own time with no distractions. In our program, you can actually have the read it back to you with some headphones on, so you're in a quiet place. Everything's online, so you can do it from the computer, from a tablet, from your cell phone, whatever. Okay, it's all browser-based, so you can use whatever you want. But if you're using some other method, books or DVDs, you need to be in your own place because you need to be able to invest at least 4 hours each session. Now, if it's 60 days, again, you have access for our course, you have access for a year. But if you're doing something else, you need to give yourself 2 times a week if it's a 90-day course. So the 60-day, it's 3 times a week. The 90-day plan, if you should say plan, it makes that helps avoid people's confusion when they're joining our programs. They're like, oh, I want the 90-day plan or the 60. You don't understand. You have access to it for a year. We're just giving you advice on what your study program should be so that you can really study. And I'm actually working on a document that is downloadable, which is going to be a document that's going to give advice on a study plan and some formulas and things to study about. Okay, so that's coming. Don't worry. I'll have that available soon. And when you listen to this, it's probably not going to be available yet, but we will get that available. And the whole concept here is you have to give yourself the amount of time. Now, just to kind of give it perspective, in 60 days, 2 months, you should be doing 3 times a week for 4 hours each session, okay? So that's 12 hours a week that you're dedicated to actually studying, all right? Now, there's a magic number, okay? Magic number when we're saying, for example, 60 days. If you're doing 12 hours a week times 4, that's 48 hours times 2, because that's 2 months. That's 96 hours. It's right there at that magic sweet spot between 95 and 100 hours of dedicated study. And we have seen that right about at the 100 mark is where you're getting that point where you really are feeling comfortable. Now, you can do it at your own pace, but that's for the people that really have a deadline. They really need to sit for that exam within 2 months. And that's their program. Now, conversely to that, thinking about the 90-day program, if you will. So again, each week there, 2 times a week, okay, that's 8 hours. 8 times 4, it's 32, and it's 3 months. So again, it's 96 hours, okay? So again, it works about to the exact same. So there's a science behind the 96 hours. It's right there at the 100 point from 95 to 100 hours of dedicated study. And that's dedicated study. The next thing is I find that most people fail in exam prep. Now, you might pass an exam, and people have got their own ways to study. I get it. But there's a lot of people, and I've found that the literally thousands of people that contact us is they need to find the right way for them, and sometimes they can't find that way. So what we do in our Fast Trax program is we're actually providing a structured program to learning, so everything builds upon itself. So in the program, you'll have multiple units. And to study the Fast Trax properly, you start at Unit 1, and you literally move from Unit 1 to Unit 2 to Unit 3, Unit 4, all the way up. And each week, you drop down into that mega folder, and you do one of the practice exams. So each week, you're doing your course material using the textbook for this material, which is, again, always available. Even if you're doing a competency review, you can always click on the little blue book icon and open up the textbook, even when you're taking quizzes or exams, okay? The book is always there for you, and you can look by chapter, by unit, so it's easy to look up things. But when you go down and do the practice exams at the bottom, and again, there's over 800 questions in these exams, you're going to use your code book then. So basically, it's a 1-2 punch. During the course material, you're using the textbook. When you do the practice exams, you use the code book. And that's how you slowly start to learn. Now, whether you're using our Fast Trax program or whatever program you're using, somebody else's book or practice exam questions online, however you're doing it, here's what I have told people many, many times. The fundamental mistake that people make is that they're so quick to answer a question that they're not really interested in dissecting the question. And so if you pay a good amount of money for a set of questions, now you can pay 40, 50, 60 bucks for a book of 100 questions, which to me is outrageous, but you could do that. You should spend at least 10 minutes on each question. And what I mean by is you should look that question, look it up in the index, look at every word in there that could be what's called a trigger word or a keyword, and look it up and look up all the possible ways to find that answer in your index. Okay? And what this does is one, gets you familiar with terminologies, two, gets us familiar with the index, and three, it just hones your skills at navigating the code. Because in an exam, there are certain things that you're going to need to know because you're going to run out of time. So when you use our program like a Fast Trax program, you're going to absorb code knowledge. It's just part of the program. You're going to absorb it. And I can tell you right now, our competency review questions are tough. Okay? So they're going to make you think. So you're going to retain a lot of information, which is going to help you during an exam. If you don't have the benefit of a program like our Fast Trax program, which is, I can't bar none, the greatest exam prep program out there with our support. Again, you don't get that anywhere else. You're getting personal support by me personally because I'm grading all of your competency reviews. I'm giving you personal feedback on every question that you got wrong. Now, that is unique to us, not to anybody else that just sells you a similar program. We're heavily involved in it. Now, if you're not in the Fast Trax program, you still want to dissect these questions. You want to look these questions up. You want to take them and look them backwards and forwards and dissect them out. Get your money's worth from the question. Because in the process of looking things up, you're going to gain knowledge. And that knowledge is going to be vital because in an exam, if you've got to look up every single question on an exam, you're not going to pass. Okay? You're just not. You just don't have enough time. There's just not enough time in an exam to do that. So as much knowledge as you can get. So that's where we talk about our 95 to 100 dedicated hours is crucial to come away with a good fundamental understanding and navigation of the National Electrical Code, plus benefited knowledge that's going to help you during that exam. That's what it's there for. That's what it's attempting to do. That's why it's been structured the way it is. That's why we have unit quizzes, competency reviews, section exams, and in between each week, you take the practice exams. This is not a sprint, okay? It is not a sprint. So the people call me and say, I've got 2 weeks or 3 weeks before an exam. I usually tell them, I can't help you with a course. You can pay for it, but I don't have any expectation for you to be successful with the course because the course is not made for a sprint. It is made for a long-term study of the code that we give you the roadmap for a 60 or 90-day plan. However, if you want to do a 120-day plan or a 200-day plan, then that's up to you. Life gets in the way. You might not have the ability to dedicate 2 times or 3 times a week for 4 hours each session. And I get that. But we need to set those expectations because you're not going to spend 20 minutes in it, 30 minutes in it in our program and get anything really out of it in a time frame that you might be trying to prepare for an exam. Now, obviously, you're going to learn code. You're going to get a good information out of it, but it's all about retention. Okay? So dedication to that over time. But if you get access to it for a full year, which all of our courses do, then you can do it at your own pace. It just depends on when you plan on taking an exam. But that's not going to help you if you've got a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks from an exam. Now, if you want to get our program where it just has the exam questions in that last 2 weeks or so, you want to just hammer home looking up questions, and that's fine because we offer that program. But if you really want to learn code, then the Fast Trax program is designed to teach code and help you retain good code information. And the competencies, to be honest with you, are flat out the toughest I've seen. So again, Some of them, not all of them, the best questions in the world. Some of them are a little bit, but again, they make you think, they make you look things up. And the one thing I like about our Fast Track students is they're willing to challenge anything, and I'm willing to respond and explain why. I love challenges. I think that helps you learn. And there's no I'm greater than you, this type of thing mentality in this. We're all in this thing together, and that's the way it needs to be. Okay, I'm not going to tell you to buy $1,200, $1,500 worth of my books or DVDs or whatever. I'm going to say our course is priced affordable for what you get and the interaction that you get with me personally. That is what's unique about it. Okay, that's the only thing that makes us unique, because again, people can copy what I do. They can have their own programs, but at the end of the day, who are you learning from when they respond back to your reviews? Now, if you get 100% on everything, then you don't need you don't need me to give you any feedback, because you're reading the material and you're absorbing it. You're doing a wonderful job. But routinely, the students need assistance, and that's where we give them assistance and explain it. They call me, they email me, they text me, they come through our app. We get a lot of people through our app, so get our app. It's awesome. And where do you get the app? You go over to masterthenec.com and you'll see right at the top, get our app. Just get the app and you can ask questions that way. And again, it's that interaction is what you're really paying for. Okay, so the prices people ask, unreal. You can get access to the course and the LMS that we have to pay for, which is the backbone to monitor your grades and see how much time you're in it and everything. The 2017 course is $315. That's it. The 2020 is $335. That is it. One-time payment. That's it. And you get access to it full year. If you can't get your license within that year, then we need to move to stage 2, and that means we have to do a little bit more. And if you didn't get it within a year and you're on the Fast Trax program, contact me personally, and I'll give you a discount on another year's access. Okay, but be honest with you, I don't know anybody. So people ask me, what is our success rate in our Fast Trax? I can boast and say it is 100% success if you follow the program. If you skip around, if you go from unit 1 and jump to unit 3 and end up to 5 and back, then no, I don't track that. We don't, that's not how you're supposed to do it. Now, you bought the program, you can do what you want, but don't blame me, because you have to follow it. Unit 1, finish it. Do the reviews, do the competency review, move to unit 2, watch the videos, do the competency reviews, read the material, move to unit 3, and then during each week, drop down and do some of the practice exams, okay? It's a method. It's a plan, okay? And we want to see you succeed. So it doesn't matter who you're using, though. You need to have a plan. You need to pay for your plan by putting the time in and really dissecting the questions. Now, questions alone, unless you have a really decent knowledge of code and navigation, you put some time in, you put your time in the field, rather than just the bare minimum to be able to sit for an exam, but you've got some years in there and you're like, okay, now I got to get the exam, then questions might be beneficial to you by themselves. Whereas Fast Track, we go into a lot more detail because it's very code-based. Okay, the author of the book we use is Charles Miller. He does a very good job. There are some things in there that we will correct with the students because, again, it's probably not 100% accurate, little pieces of it, but we correct all that and give you that guidance and explain why. And that's important to explain why. So the program is solid, and it's really a structured program. It's to lead you through it and test your knowledge, but also build on that knowledge. If you're doing it without a program like a Fast Trax, then you can do it. You can be successful. You just need to study with the plan. You need to still stick to the 60 or 90 day, still that magic number between 95 and 100 hours of dedicated study in order to feel proficient and go into an exam where you know that you got this. Okay? That's the goal. To go in because you got this. And that's just what it takes. So hopefully you got something out of that today, a little motivation that you understand what it takes. And again, if you're interested in our Fast Trax program, jump on over to masterthenec.com, look under the courses, and there's a demo. The demo will show you everything that's in the program. but you've got to follow the program to be successful. Okay. And people have been struggling. They failed the test 2 and 3 times until they get into our program and they realize, oh, there's a real way to study. Yes, there is legit way to study. So hopefully you check that out. If you're really struggling to get it, we're here to help you. Till next time, folks, stay safe. God bless.